Congressman James Comer. He is the chair of the House Oversight Committee. Great to have you back with us. Let's take a look at what the vice president says that he's been able to accomplish there. He says he's built this foundation, but they still have to build a house. What do you think are the most important pillars of that house?
Certainly, without a doubt, it would be allowing inspectors to come in to ensure that Iran isn't cheating on the deal, that they're not trying to create a nuclear weapon. That's what the problem with the Obama deal always was. And in addition to giving Iran a bunch of cash. So I applaud Vice President Vance. This isn't easy. We all know that if we list the top countries in the world that are the least trustworthy, Iran would be at the top right there with China. So I applaud this administration for taking the initiative to hold Iran accountable. And hopefully we can continue to make progress. But a lot of progress was apparently made over the weekend. And as the vice president said, there's more work yet to be done. But I think the inspectors is a big deal. And obviously opening up the strait and allowing the oil to flow is a big deal for every American consumer.
Now, Congressman, as we know, the president, he is not one to shy away from how he feels. He's now threatening to sue the New York Times after they put out this scathing op-ed titled, "Trump was right, the war ended with a surrender," but it goes on to say the unpalatable truth is that Iran won the war, and that's why it won the negotiation. Trump waddled as long as he could because he realized any deal he could hope to reach would be a humiliation. Those whom have betrayed the most are ordinary Iranians. We have left them to suffer under a more oppressive government and with less hope for change. What do you make of this characterization by the New York Times? You also hear that same sentiment from Democrats, that there is this overarching theme that the president didn't win this one.
Well, the Democrats and their friends in the liberal media, like at the New York Times, they want President Trump to fail. They want America to fail. They were probably rooting for Iran, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, the president took the initiative to try to ensure that Iran didn't have the capability to make nuclear weapons. And what you're seeing with Vice President Vance, they're trying to create regional peace. It's not just with Iran, not just with Israel. It's within the whole region. And if you study history dating back to biblical times, that's the most difficult region in the world to have any type of peace. But the one thing I think that we should all agree on is that Iran cannot have nuclear capabilities, because if there's one country in that region that would pull the trigger on a nuclear weapon, it would be Iran. So I think that it took a lot of guts for President Trump to take the initiative to hold Iran accountable. And if we have inspectors going in there, and if that strait is open for business and oil is flowing, then I think it's very clear the United States will have won this conflict.
Yeah, that the strait, that's kind of one of the big ifs there, because with Iran insisting that Israel and Hezbollah be involved in this, be part of this, and mandatory peace there, it kind of gives them the option at pretty much any second to say, hey, you violated and we're closing the strait, which they have done on and off now since then. On Face the Nation yesterday, Senator Lindsey Graham said he is very positive that there's not going to be a resolution between the U.S. and Iran through any kind of peaceful means. Listen.
Let's try a diplomatic solution. I think it's going to fail. What happens next? I spent 4.5 hours with President Trump Friday. Here's what I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we'll obliterate them.
And since then, President Trump has brought up that specific point, saying that if everything falls apart with Iran, that the U.S. may control that and also start charging a toll in the strait. So what does your gut tell you is going to happen there? Do you believe that the Iranians really are serious?
I hope that what Senator Graham predicted would happen does not happen. I don't want to have to take anything by force in that region. That would require boots on the ground. But at the end of the day, I think it's important that there are leaders in America, in addition to President Trump and Vice President Vance, specifically leaders in Congress, that are saying what the consequences are going to be to Iran if they don't comply with this peace agreement, because you have so many Democrats and so many liberal newspapers like the New York Times that are sending a signal to Iran that there's weakness on the part of the United States, and Iran can continue to create nuclear weapons and continue to create havoc in the Strait and all over the Middle East. So I believe it's important that somebody say what Lindsey Graham said. Let's just hope that it doesn't come to that.
All right, Congressman, I looked at some of the video of the peace talks, and even J.D. Vance, the vice president, as he's walking in, the Qatari minister snubbed him. I don't know if you saw that viral video. There's this kind of body language that they're exuding, that they think they're the ones in control here. Are they underestimating the power of the United States, the power of President Trump, the FAFO when it comes to Trump, that he says what he means and he means what he says? You just heard Senator Lindsey Graham talking about obliteration. President Trump on Easter Sunday saying that he would do away with their civilizations. Are they not comprehending that the president is not Joe Biden?
If Iran underestimates President Trump, they will do that to their own peril, because I think what we've seen over the 6 years of the Trump presidency is that he does what he says. And I think that, again, it's important that people like Lindsey Graham and others in the Senate get President Trump's back when he says, look, we're going to go do whatever it takes to reopen the Strait and to ensure that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. Because I think Iran's sitting back watching MSNBC and reading the New York Times thinking, oh, we've got them here, we're winning this war. And that's not what's happening. And I'm really happy that President Trump sent Vice President Vance over there. I think he has the right disposition. He's very intelligent. He's a great student of history, and he's negotiating from a position of strength, and the strength has already been demonstrated with our United States military, as well as a commander-in-chief that will do whatever it takes to win this war.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your time this morning.